Why, hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. It's Mary Cronert with the Living Room Community Art Studio, here for another live stream Instagram artist chat. So happy to be here and so thrilled to be joined by a guest that I know a lot of people in the Oshawa community know and love. Someone who, already there and sending a request. I love it. Someone whom I think has made a difference in a lot of people's lives through simply being here and being a creator, being open to sharing what they create with other people. A perfect example of a perfectly imperfect example, I should say, of an artist making do with what they have, learning, being open-hearted and open-spirited, willing to share the skill, that creative voice that they have with others, if only, and sometimes only just to make a difference in someone else's day. This person is, if you don't know who I'm talking about yet, the wonderful Donald J. King, Don King, also known as Oshawa Guitar Man, but I'm sure there's a lot of folks out there who know him also as a singer and a poet and just someone to talk to when or if they're having a difficult day or need or want someone to celebrate something special with. So, you know what, without further ado, I'm going to bring this wonderful person online with us into the Instagram chat. Fingers crossed it works. If not, you know we'll reschedule, but it's going to work, right? It is going to work. So let me introduce them to you. Let's go on King, Oshawa's Guitar Man. Oh, we're connecting, folks. It's happening. It's happening. Hello. I think. Hello. Do I see Don? Are you there? I'm seeing a black screen, but can I hear your voice?
Hello.
Hello.
You hear me? Are you there?
I'm there. Are you there? Can you see me?
I can see you. I just don't see my thing coming up anymore here. So hold on. Oh, there we go.
There we are.
Now we're in.
Oh,
how are you, Mary?
I'm okay. It's so great to see your face. Oh my goodness.
Well, you know, busy few months. I guess everybody's been kind of on edge, so it's, I'm not immune.
I think you're not alone there. I think, at least, well, for us, let's see, like it's over a year now since the studio's closed, right?
Yeah.
For folks who came to the studio, they're probably familiar with you. They've seen you come into the studio, hang out, strum the guitar in the corner, listening, observing, watching, making music in your,
Yeah, I'm still there, actually. I still sit in sometimes. I just, you just might not know I'm there because I'm just sitting in the background listening.
It's exactly like the studio. So some folks might be familiar, Don, will tune into live streams and be a part of that community creation or that vibe, sometimes commenting, sometimes joining the chat. But it's...
I just like to get in on the energy, just sit back and sometimes listen. I learn things.
I always learn something. That's like, we have such an incredible creative community. But for folks who might be listening or watching from afar, maybe people in the community who haven't had the opportunity to meet you yet, can you introduce yourself to them, who you are, what you do, the kind of creativity you bring to the world?
Geez, that's quite a profound question. Let me see. Okay, I guess I'm Don. I have a lot of time on my hands, so I share it with others. And at first, I guess I just walked around keeping myself occupied, and people tend to like it, and I would lift spirits. So I just go where I'm needed, and I just feel things out and play music as I go.
It's a beautiful thing, that music, that gift you have. Now I'm going to go back with kind of it feels like a traditional kind of question. When did you first know that you were an artist?
When you told me.
You're an artist.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought, but yeah, I guess so. Wow. And but it's yeah, that's profoundly true, though. I mean, it's I never really considered myself that. I just kept myself occupied. It helped kept me on a more healthy mindset. And then, like I said, when I started affecting others, and then I just thought people were being nice, and then other artists asked me to play something, or just appreciating it and letting me know, and it just. you know, and then the talks we've had too about, you know, self-doubt or, you know, working harder at it or am I really an artist and questioning oneself. And I felt a lot less isolated or alone with it. So it was like, wow, other artists that I respect are going, this is pretty normal, Don.
Part of that human, that creative humaning. I think artists are a little closer to it. I think the fact that you might be questioning and doubting and saying, am I an artist? Am I? Maybe that's one of the things that helps let you know you in fact are an artist.
I'm actually finishing songs now because it's like instead of thinking, oh, I'm going to stew over this and try and perfect it, which will never happen. I know. It just I just finish and I'm starting to get happy with what I'm doing. So
That's an important piece of the puzzle, finding peace with our own creative voice, because it's clear that, oh, lovely. Yeah, see, people are sending you lots of hearts, lots of smiley faces. We have James Eagles 946 saying we are all artists in our own ways, and Dawn is an awesome guitarist and vocalist. I couldn't agree more, James.
well, thanks, James. Thank you.
It's a funny thing that, like, that idea of perfection and trying to strive for something better than what, you know, we can do in the moment. That's a beautiful thing, but it's also a really, really subjective thing. I know for a fact I've seen people responding to the music you're playing, responding to your voice, or even just when you're creating music, like noodling away on the guitar, like there's something there that I'm sure lots of folks here would back me up. Like that in its own way is perfection for other people. Even if for you as the creator, you're constantly seeking and striving to, you know, better yourself.
That is true. It gets almost confusing, and it's like, oh, somebody else done this, or you know, this can't be me. Like it's, you know, sometimes it's like, wow, did I really do that? Or you know, and it's just like, okay, that can't be original then, and especially in our music, it can drive one mad. So
Well, I think some folks in the community tease me about this, but there is that idea like all artists, everything I really do believe this, everything that any of us do, we're building upon what others have done before us, right?
absolutely, yeah,
But
I agree.
yeah, we're telling the story through our own eyes though. So through our own experience, our own lived experience. So that's what makes it, you know, that's why you can sing and play a song that has been composed by someone else. And yet we can be moved by it in a completely different way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that's something that's becoming really common with a lot of like professional artists that, you know, coming out with albums and they're other people's songs and they're just covering them and but the way they've done them is kind of change the context or put their feeling into it. That's the idea, I guess, of making it yours when you do somebody else's music, I guess.
Yeah.
But well, like I say, when we first met, I only knew 4 songs on the guitar. Like I
What?
was a singer, yeah, and like no kidding. I mean, a lot of friends I have in the city, they all testify to that because they're the ones going, Don, it's getting pretty boring hearing all those same songs over and over. Can you learn something new? And it was that encouragement that actually got me into learning more about the chords I was playing and learning more about chords. Hi, Caitlin.
There's a lots of people, like we have Artistry Wellness saying, I was going to say, everyone has the capacity to be creative. You either use it more or less, but it's always there, I think. And I agree with that too. Like this,
Absolutely.
um, yeah, we stand upon the shoulders of other people who've come before us, whether they're, you know, like artists or not, whether they consider themselves creatives or not. But being able to take that risk, that step out just to express ourselves in the first place is huge. Now, you just talked about like before you did play before, like this, it wasn't like you came to the studio and suddenly magically you know.
No, I knew basic things that, you know, I was comfortable singing to, and I knew like 4 songs literally all the way through. And I never really, I just did that for myself, and like I said, to keep me occupied, and just creating muscle memory and habit of playing chords over and over. Then again, with the encouragement with like yourself and friends in the community, I just felt like I should maybe learn a few more. People are really appreciating it, and so I ended up taking lessons a couple of years ago, and that's when I really started developing my sound and my feel for the instrument that I was playing. So, but I honestly did only know 4 songs all the way through when I met you. I was a singer before, so I could sing. I sang lots with other bands, but I never really considered getting back into music till I I realized I could play guitar.
So when did you first start singing? Because that in itself is a really courageous thing to do, like using your voice to connect with other people.
That's something that goes back to my childhood. I used to like my mother would be vacuuming and I'd lay on the vacuum and harmonize with it um, or sing with things on TV and then when I got to school they had a really good music program when I was a child and I had it was a small town and I had a kindergarten teacher who was a pianist and she'd had music time every day and I just loved it and ever since I learned my vocal scale which pretty much everybody knows the do re mi's I just ran with it, and I don't know. For me, it was more, as I got older, because I could sing in front of people, but I wasn't really comfortable. And it wasn't until I was in my early teens and people overheard me, because I would go isolate by myself and just let it go, and just as long as nobody was listening, I didn't have any limits, so I could just push as hard as I wanted or whatever. And I just started developing with this, the tools I was given. And I was pretty lucky, but a lot of isolation.
It's there's like that interesting piece about isolation and connection at the same time. There's this gift or this capacity that you recognize in yourself that you choose to develop, but it sounds like on your own at first, so not quite ready to share it.
Yeah, yeah. It was, I guess, high school, and some of my friends would hear me singing from because I lived out in the country, and we all had the same bus stop, so they'd hear me singing walking up the road, and I'd normally try and shut up when I got close, but just again, just peer support and people around me, and I thought, well, I can really sing, but I didn't realize I was limiting myself by just being a singer. So I took that, it went to my head. I luckily was still able to sing when I got older, and again, I picked up the guitar, and it just changed my whole aspect of that particular art form because I felt so much less limited. I feel less limited now that I can play an instrument like comfortably because I don't have to look at it while I play it, and I don't have to think about what I'm singing. I can just let it all flow now.
Now there's so much I want to talk to you about today. We only have an hour before Instagram cuts us off, so there might have to be a part 2 to this chat. That being said, there's the way you were just talking about the guitar there made it feel like the guitar is a friend of yours. Like that is a relationship that helps you be more public with it. So it's not, is that true? Is there something in there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had gone without my guitar for a couple of days now, and I was walking around Oshawa. I'm still singing and saying hi to everybody and lifting spirits and just letting everybody know I remember the little things they say to me and private conversations and stuff because it's kind of important to me to connect with people that give me so much, and there's so many things that connect me to my music and how I play it just from others because I know the pain's there and I know they understand a lot of what drives me to pick the songs I do when I cover them or how I write. So there's less judgment. They get an understanding, and so there's that connection. But everybody was asking, where's your guitar? Where's your guitar? Where's your guitar? And I was actually feeling awkward not having it. It was like my crutch, kind of limping around, and something's missing. But so I got everything rolling yesterday, so I got it back, and I've been going crazy with it ever since. So
Your guitar is back. Yay.
yes, it got found. It's they're all numbered. So it's not like it could have got sold without me knowing. So
Like perhaps I'm hoping that because you have your guitar, it means you might be open to playing for us a little bit today. But before we get to that, because Caitlin's saying here, a memory of the studio. Having Dawn in the space always made the studio a little bit brighter. I always look forward to your playing. I'm sure lots of others feel the same. I know that to be the case. People like your voice, your music holds a very special place in the community, but it's also because of the relationship you have in the community. And, all artists, there's so many things that each one of us goes through in our own lives. And I want you to, only feel like, share what you feel comfortable sharing, but you do have quite a unique relationship with the community here in Oshawa. Is there a way, like, could you describe it for folks if, like, maybe there are people listening who haven't been to Oshawa even?
It's funny. It's something that Oshawa doesn't get a lot of credit for, and it's one of the things that kept me here. I was just passing through when I first met you, Mary. Like it was,
Hmm.
quick get and out type thing because I was kind of stranded and stuck. But um, th- within a couple of months, I knew I was comfortable here. So it's really personal, really, when the relationship I have with pretty much everybody I've met in Oshawa, and it's almost like a family now. And the sense of community I've never really had before.
Hmm.
I always kind of felt like an outcast, or like again with my art, I would always isolate. So I was kind of a weird one growing up, so it was really hard for others to connect. But I felt so comfortable here, and the community took me right in, and it's so when I meet people and talk to them, it's really personal. Like we can talk about things, and some of the younger folks tell me things they'd never tell their own families about where they're at, and
Hmm.
we got them in certain situations and stuff. So um, you know I'm I don't know. I feel it helps me too because it really reminds me of where I'm coming from and where I've been in my life, and that it's no matter how hard it seems to get for me, there's sadder stories, or there's people that understand that I can connect with. You know.
And sometimes we don't understand, we won't know what other people do understand until we have an opportunity to connect with them and to share our stories, right? You can't
Absolutely,
tell just by looking at someone what they've been through, what they've experienced, what they've survived.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's and the way I am that open, and the way the community is, like in certain aspects of the community, it's been really easy for me to be honest about where I've been. Like, and
Mm.
a lot of things I'm not particularly proud of or whatever, but it's there, and we can it helps people connect with where they're at too. Like especially with some of the community I'm involved with, because like I say, I'll go play in the park, or the backdoor mission, or at the gate, and places where there's everything from mental health to addiction to like early I connect with early childhood trauma for some reason, and so I don't see maybe what others do. I just see pain, 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 pain. So
That's, yeah. It's, well, we've talked about this before, our love of Dr. Gabor Mate, and he is like in reference to addiction, for example, that
yeah,
famous saying he has, it's not why the addiction, it's why the pain. And everybody has that place of hurt in them,
yeah, yeah,
larger extent than others. But uh, that's seeing people with compassion for that's when you describe that, that's what I'm hearing, that you look at people with compassion and not it doesn't seem like that judgment that other people who may not open themselves up to that experience.
I can't speak for others. I just know from where I've been, I just relate, or I can, if I don't understand, I can there's parts I can, or at least be an ear, or just whatever I can do. It's as long as because even for a few minutes to distract from that, it helps. And
Yeah.
I can't say why that person's in that situation, or but normally what got them there are similar to my experiences, and so to not recognize that, or to not try as much as I can to alleviate any of that from my experiences, then I'm kind of being irresponsible. So
Hmm.
that's my feeling anyway.
That's a lot to take on. That's a lot. uh, there's a lot there, like a lot of responsibility there that you're giving yourself.
It's I don't think that it's easy. I'm there anyway. And it's not like people aren't getting, like, just within minutes of meeting some guys, it's just bang, here's my story, and I'm like, wow, takes a lot of trust. Thanks, and but again, like I get that I get stuff from it too. Like it's therapeutic for me almost, and it reminds me why I want to keep doing the good things I'm good at, or the helpful things I can do. It reminds me that I can't, I don't need to be so self-absorbed and punish myself and all these mean things I do to myself even to this day.
I know, that is a conversation that comes up a lot. Why are we so cruel to ourselves? We're so kind to other people. Why are we so hard on ourselves?
Right.
That's the question I guess we'll continue asking and addressing and just learning our way out of for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, there's something about that experience that keeps me there. That's for sure. I mean, I don't know if it's the connection or just the universal love or just that feeling to know that I'm not alone in
Yeah.
how I feel.
Yeah, not alone. That's the biggest thing. And that's something to celebrate. I mean, in the pain and the like the acknowledgement of the loss and the grief that so many folks in the community have experienced, there's also resilience and like so much to celebrate. There's so much amazing stuff out there.
There is so much strength and I can't express enough when I'm talking to a younger person and because it took me a long time to come to a lot of issues in my life and actually address them properly to where I can at least have a fighting chance.
Yeah.
So when I talk to younger people and they're looking into this, you know, and in between the ages of 20 and 30 years old, they're seeing this in themselves, and I just see bravery and just being able to talk about things that because I'm like, man, when I was your age, I didn't want anybody to know anything. Like, I was terrified of myself, or it's just anybody knowing that I might be thinking differently, or that I felt different, or that I might not process information the same way, or just the slightest things that just made me feel different then.
Yeah. So you think there's an openness, there's a kind of willingness to share these experiences that wasn't there not so long ago?
I think it's always been there. I've had a very limited way of coming across or connecting,
Mm.
and now it's become more universal with my art and with how I'm dealing with that in my own life, because it's pulled me out of some pretty dark places, and then again having that sense of community when there's been just in the last couple months, like I said, it's been pretty rough on me, but I mean I've always had friends even watching you in these live streams, or sitting in with the art community and getting that creative flow going again. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this is what I should be doing. And then I just get the urge to play, and then I can just drift away for a few hours.
I mean, a wonderful gift of any kind of art form, isn't it? It's like the relief that can come from simply immersing in some kind of creative flow, or like just playing for fun or creating for fun or creating with like, I don't know, more specific purpose. And I'm seeing, yeah, like seeing people relate to you, like Gracie being 1965 and relate to this, right? And artistry wellness, again, sounds like being an empath, seeing the pain, feeling it too, seeing the beauty and feeling the beauty as well.
Right.
If there's like, what inspires you the most as an artist? Is there any one or two things that, really, spark your creativity?
I wish I could put my finger on it, because then I'd probably be more creative. But it just comes in waves, and sometimes I could just, like, a friend could have a movie on in the background, and it's really hard for me to sit through an entire movie. But certain things will be said, or certain combination of words, and they spark something, and I just feel it, or a certain sound, or some mornings just bright sunny day with the birds chirping and nobody's up yet, and just the weirdest things. And all of a sudden I'm writing something. I don't even realize I'm doing it sometimes.
What do you mean? Can you talk us through that? What that's like?
Well, as I was saying earlier about creating muscle memory with my instrument, and just having it with me all the time, so it's always in my hands, and so I'll just gradually just pick it up, and I'm not looking at what I'm doing. It just the chords are just coming out. It's like, so as I could be talking to people, and it's just always happening. So so and it's awkward in some ways, because when I'll be talking to some folks and just I almost did it there, where now I'm off writing music and be halfway through a conversation, come back and go, what were we talking about?
Well, that's where I see you in the studio, and that reminds me of you sitting in the studio. You're a part of the conversation. You're just communicating in a different way. You're not using words to respond. You're absorbing, and like you're talking with music. You're talking with the guitar. You're talking,
I really miss that about the studio, because that creative flow, it's like as a musician, it's you see that when you put it out there, but I don't think people realize that feeling when it comes back, how that becomes like almost like a give and take feeding frenzy where it's like
Mm.
everything's flowing and it's like you get lost in that moment. And so it's truly being in the now for me when that happens. And it's more often than not, I could trip into the living room and just be in a terrible mood, and within a couple minutes sitting there, I'm just like, and because everyone's doing their thing, and set their highs or whatever, and it's make your coffee or just sit down, and then everything kind of goes into that flow of creativity, and somebody just creating something with yarn can inspire another artist in another way that has nothing to do with that particular art form. It's just wow, that creative moment, and it's just it kind of, I don't know if it's a vibration or what it is, but it's easy to pick up on for me, and it really inspires me.
You're not alone there. I miss that too. I miss the overflow of like I was going to say cross contamination, but that sounds like a bad thing. But like
Yeah, these days, yeah.
cross pollination, perhaps that's
Yeah,
a better way of
there
putting
you
it,
go.
right?
That's better. Yeah,
Where one,
that's more
yeah,
appropriate for the times.
yes, yeah. One creative impulse sparks off something else. A conversation opens up another creative possibility over here. A poem inspires a song inspires a scarf inspires a painting, the painting inspires the garden. Like just this wonderful circular kind of thing going on. It's still there though. It's just happening in a different way. Um,
Yeah,
and it sounds like for me too, like you're still creating, you're still, you know,
more so than ever, actually. I've had almost like my closest friends practically prodding me to, get my own songs recorded and finishing some of them with projects because they're like, yes, they still have that song half written, done. I'm like, oh, 'cause, I was writing at that. Like some of the works I have been at that point in my life where I'm like, oh, it's got to be perfect.
hmm.
So I got to I got to double back and go over it and finish these things. And because I have been writing and finishing songs lately, and like I said, it's mostly because my friends are going, Don, it's time, and I know if I don't, it's just going to bother me. So
So this is amazing. You're recording songs. It sounds like you're preparing to move into a different phase, like a new phase of your artistry.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Get my stuff out and I don't know, it just feels like it just feels right because I'm really connecting with a lot of things in my life that I can really translate well, and it's going to come out hopefully in a way that I can feel it. And if because I'm going to take away that perfectionism and just finish, it's actually some of the stuff I've done. I'm surprised I did. Like I'm listening to it. My nephew is, he's a fan and a critic, but I really believe him when he's telling me. So it's like, this is something I should just finish and I guess develop the best I can before I get too old.
never too old. Never, never too old. It is the finished, not perfect principle, I suppose. And trusting the fact that it's good enough. It's where it needs to be. Because I hear artists of many different kinds describe the process like that. It's something you never finish. You simply learn to walk away,
Right.
to let it have its life, to breathe on its own.
Well, and sometimes, like my nephew had brought up to me about that. Actually, was that he's like, Uncle Don, you're adding things to this when it's actually kind of finished now, and it leaves you wanting more. So let's leave it there. And
Ah,
I'm like, oh wow, and I'm hearing it going, holy, that's interesting, right? Now it's
yeah.
because sometimes less is more.
I'm so excited to hear this. When do you think it might be available for folks to listen to?
You know what? I'll keep you posted, and when I'm comfortable with a few tunes, we'll get together and maybe we'll put it on for you to make that happen for me. So.
You heard it here first, folks. Maybe a concert, maybe a live stream concert, maybe, who knows, maybe an in-person concert somewhere.
Maybe that's the thing with this with the phones and stuff where we were doing it now. The quality's pretty iffy. So,
Yeah.
um, but I do have a little bit more at my fingertips. I got specifically for that for recording, and I've also got quite a bit of equipment, microphones and a PA system, so I'll be able to do live performances without anything, just myself. So
Oh, beautiful.
because that's kind of what I've been reaching for anyway, was just to be able to come up with a decent show so that I can maybe go out and entertain people and spread the love that way, and maybe even support myself a bit if I'm lucky.
Well, that's the other piece that we so rarely get to talk about as well, that idea of being an artist in Canada, let alone an artist in Oshawa. It's difficult. There are specific challenges that come along with that. Uh, it's hard to make a living. It's hard, you've got to take care of yourself so that the art can still happen. Um, once
Yeah.
that, that's a whole process. How do you, and knowing there is no, like, this is not a simple question or there's no simple answers. How do you find ways to take care of yourself? Is there anything that you've been doing, particularly like maybe in the last year, that you've found helpful in keeping that, like, taking care of your artist self and your artist heart?
That's a good question. I'm actually thinking as you were saying that, because I'm like, wow, that's interesting, because I'm still here, so I've done something right. So, but honestly, it's been staying connected, which has been probably pretty stressful and hard for pretty much everybody I know.
Yeah.
Um, uh, yeah, that's it. Just staying connected. So I'm not spending as much time greeting people physically as I had been in the past, and I know it's taken a toll on me and others, and some of my closest friends. Um, and again, it's like there's just so many people that look forward to hearing me when I come out. So if I haven't been out for a while, they're asking around, where's Don, and I'm trying to practice this too and stay, because I'm not too worried about getting sick. It's just if I got somebody else sick somehow and didn't know I was, then I would feel terrible. So,
Yeah.
so I just abide by the rules, which has been really difficult for me.
Yeah.
But I stay connected this way, and mostly I think uh, staying connected with the art community in these manners has probably been really like so instrumental for me. That's probably the main reason I agreed to do this, just in case I could help people like I've been helped, because it's so important to hear that it's I'm not alone out there, and this is not just me that feels this way.
Oh, yeah.
It's perfectly normal to feel like this, like you're missing something. It's almost like I'm that little kid parents trying to put me to bed, and I feel like I'm going to miss something if I don't stay up all night, right? So it's like, no, no, I'm good. I can just stay home for a couple more days and wear my mask.
All any of us can really do, right? Take care of ourselves to take care of other people, and find those, like, when those moments happen when we are able to connect and be with one another virtually, or you know hopefully soon one day in person, or once the weather warms up and there's more outdoor, you know like, just appreciating every single moment out of this past year. For me, I feel like that's been a huge piece, appreciating those opportunities of connection that we have, no matter how small or tiny or insignificant they might seem.
Mhm. Yeah, it doesn't take much. I think that's probably a reason why I've been able to connect with a lot of the community members that I know personally, because it's easy to connect for some reason. Is that commonality, and the last year has really really opened my eyes, and I think this is a worldwide phenomenon. If I wouldn't, if I'm not stretching it, but it just seems like we're finally getting this idea that we're all in this together,
Mm.
and by everybody not necessarily wearing a mask to protect themselves as much as like myself, or it's about others. I think that really speaks a lot about the community too.
And I've been really proud overall, like, for the large part of, I have no right to be, who am I? But, seeing how Oshawa has responded, and, Durham region on the whole, there is that sense of solidarity, of kindness, like, even when it's tough, even when we're like, ugh, tired of it all, like, we're still kind. We're still doing our best to be kind to one another and imagine other people more complexly. And I like, I'm a bit biased, but I like to think that artists are leading the way with that, because we've always been able to, like, we have a willingness, and not only a willingness, but a desire to put ourselves in other people's shoes, to imagine what it might be like to be them, so that we can tell the stories that we do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, I don't really mean to. It's not that I don't think that was, really my purpose. It's just it inadvertently happens when you get so into your art, because eventually it's going to hit somebody else's eyes or somebody else's ears, or somebody else is going to feel that in some way, and you're inadvertently connecting, and all of a sudden you're now connecting with others, and they're talking about it, or because it's almost everybody I know or I've met at the studio, or one time or another, someone's come up and went, "Wow, that is really nice," because it is. It's visually pleasing, or there's aesthetics, or the sounds good, or and yeah, it was really nice to see the piano getting painted too.
That's right. Isn't that exciting? It's still happening. So, okay, to catch up, there might be people watching going, piano? What piano? I don't see a piano, Mary. So at the living room, we inherited a piano from someone in the community, and it was another wonderful instrument that people could play. I have, images of Aaron, Angel, like different people in the community, tinkering away. When we closed the studio, we were like, we don't want to lose this piano. We have to hold on to it. So our local MPP, Jennifer French, kindly offered to foster the piano for us. So that's
nice.
that's where the piano is. It's at MPP Jennifer French's office.
Wow.
And she and her team have allowed Christine Weatherly, so another one of our coordinators, to go in and play the piano whenever Christine has time, whenever it's appropriate and safe to do so.
Awesome.
Yeah, so if you follow Christine Weird on Instagram, the development of the piano as it's getting more and more colorful over time. But
it's funny you mentioned Aaron and Angel, because like I said, I've been back out since it's been warming up. And I've probably played on the street a few times, and almost every time I've had, it's almost attracted them from different areas. And it's like, hey guys, let's get together. Then we're, it's like, especially Angel. He's always out in the thick of stuff, right, and spreading the love. And he's such a great artist himself. It's so creative in so many ways.
Yeah, we have a lot of artistry and creative soul in this community, I think, is another way of saying it. And you know what, other communities too. I don't mean to throw shade on other communities. I think it's one of those things, especially, living in the place that we do, that hasn't always had the best things said about it. And particularly like recently, there's been some new struggles that have hit folks, and, some new difficult, things that have happened.
Yesterday was kind of overwhelming.
Yeah, right. And for any folks who are out there who've been impacted by those things, sending our love. But it's sometimes feels a little bit like us against the world. And and I bet there's lots of other people who live in places like Oshawa who can relate to that feeling.
I've lived in some pretty rough cities, and the reputation that Oshawa has, and where the cities it's been compared to, I've lived, and there's really no comparison. It gets a bad rap, and I mean, like, every city's got its problems, but I think overall Oshawa is just like an incredible city and gets such a bad reputation. And then it's one of the reasons I stayed. I don't want to say the names of the cities, but I've lived in the United States in a couple of pretty rough places, and I've just had to bounce around the last few years since I was hurt in a car accident. So I haven't really lived in the best areas. But as far as reputation goes, Oshawa's always kind of had a bad rep for the quality of people here. So, and it's starting to get around. It's starting to get around, that it's not as bad as people are saying. It's actually quite nice. Like, you go to the most notorious park in the city, and it's well kept. It's pretty. The sound is great. People helping each other and stuff. Finding Pokemon.
Oh, Pokemon, so scary. Yeah, I know. It's a strange thing. And, we've got some competition in the comments. Gracie Bean 1965 says, sorry, my heart belongs to Bowmanville. Fair enough, Grace. I'll let you have it. I'm not going to argue.
That's where I am right now.
There you go. See? Well, shout out to Bowmanville, folks. And, shout out to every city out there, every small city, kind of doing the best they can with what they have to keep moving things forward, to keep creative, to keep it a little bit weird, to keep the passion and the heart and soul there, right? That's such an important thing.
I've already been out this morning in the south end of Bowmanville sharing the music, so Yeah, I'll walk around just playing when I practice, right? So,
So,
and I can be quite loud outside, so I'm sure somebody heard it.
so keep an eye out there, Bowmanville. Keep an eye out for Don singing his heart out. Um, is there time for a song? Do you feel like you could play us some songs?
Do we have time?
Yeah, I think so. One or two songs.
Strange and beautiful are the stars tonight that dance around your head. In your eyes I see that perfect world. Hope that doesn't sound too weird. And I want all the world to know that your love's all I need, all that I need. And if we're lost, then we are lost together. And if we're lost, then we are lost together. I stand before this faceless crowd, wonder why I bother. So much control by so few, stumbling from one disaster to another. Heard it all so many times before. It's all a dream to me now. Dream to me now. And if we're lost, then we are lost together. And if we're lost, then we are lost together. In the silence of this whispered night, I listen only to your breath. And in the seconds of that shooting star, somehow it all makes sense. And I want all the world to know that your love's all I need, all that I need. And if we're lost, then we are lost together. And if we're lost, then we are lost together. Yeah, and if we're lost, then we are lost together. Okay, Mary, that's, I don't want to wake up the neighbors and extort them.
Oh, as you were singing that, thank you so much. Oh, I don't know if you can see all the hearts happening there and like.
No, I get into it, so I don't really pay much attention to what's happening around me when I get playing.
I'm thinking there's
Sometimes it just takes it.
out there in the community that needed that. They needed a bit of Dawn singing that to them today. And it feels like that if we're lost, we're all lost. We're lost together. That beautiful message.
It's an appropriate song, I think. It's good timing for me to learn. I just actually learned that one this winter, so I was like, I'll play that one because it seems appropriate for the time.
Yeah, it's beautiful and a good Canadian song to boot.
True that.
Yeah.
Yep, it's a dude.
Oh, that was fabulous. And thank you to your neighbors. And
Yeah, I got some good neighbors around me, so
that's
they
good.
do understand I break into music at any given moment, so they've been very patient.
That's fantastic. Thank you. And there, yeah, music for the soul, just what I needed. Yeah, see, there's folks out there. It's been, for those who haven't had a chance to listen to you, your voice is recognized, your voice is appreciated, your voice is needed out there in the community. And
Well, I feel that, but I feel that whatever I can to give back. 'Cause the community's done incredible things for me, and I can't express enough, how much love there is here. So it's just makes it easy, but I feel like I could just do a little more,
that's what so many of us feel, isn't it? That's a beautiful thing. That desire to always just try to do a little bit more. I guess, it starts with taking care of ourselves. Full circle back to that conversation at the beginning. If we can
True
give
that.
ourselves
True
that,
enough.
right? Giving ourselves that love, then our cup will always be full to pour from, right?
Exactly. For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
That's a tough lesson for me. That was tough.
It still
And,
is. I do it every single day. I think,
it is. It still is.
but there's only one of you in the world, so please keep taking care of yourself. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this has
I'll
been,
still be around.
I know, I know. It's been great chatting with you. Is there anything else, like anything else you feel might be important that you want to know? Oh, it's bye, folks. If folks have to go, thank you for being here, everyone. Um,
Thanks, everyone.
is there anything that you would like to share with people? Any last words? I don't, not that final, but anything you want people to know today in this moment? If maybe there's someone out there who's thinking about picking up the guitar again, or maybe trying singing for the first time, or doing something creative that has been, maybe they've been
Just
that same self-doubt. What would you say?
just keep doing it. Just do it more, and the more you doubt yourself, the more do it. And that's basically like anything. You create muscle memory before you know it, it'll just be coming out of you anyway.
So just moving forward and doing it. Face the fear, feel the fear, and do it anyways. Just keep.
Absolutely. Like I was always terrified as a kid that somebody would hear me when I was really singing loud, and because that's the way to practice. And so I was always afraid of that. But then eventually somebody did hear me, or my friends heard me and stuff, and it was quite the opposite reaction I expected. So I got support, and but it took a lot. It took a long time to get there.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, thank you so much for being here, and thanks for sharing your music and sharing your heart and
Thanks
sharing.
for having me.
Um, Bowmanville, keep an ear out for Dawn. If you're out there, keep an ear out for Dawn. And we can't wait to hear you and see you again in Oshawa when it's
Thanks,
safe
man.
to do so. It's been a pleasure chatting with you today. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Mary. Have a great day.
You
Bye,
too.
everybody.
Soon. Bye, Dawn. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Wow. Thanks so much to everyone who joined us. Thank you to Donald J. King on Instagram if you want to follow and keep an eye and an ear out for what Dawn's doing. There's always new music coming from this lovely human being. We're so lucky in Oshawa that we have artists like this in our community, and we want to do what we can to appreciate them now, because you know what? This is a precious life, and we've got some amazing, amazing human talent here. So thank you to Don for joining us and sharing his art story. And thank you to everyone else who joined us to watch or listen. If again, you're missing out or you have to go, you can always tune back in and listen to the archived version that goes up on our Instagram and stays there. And if you're looking for more living room activities, boy, do we have a whole lot more out there. We've got workshops happening every day of the week pretty much now. And tonight, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m., we have the Creative Wellness, the art wellness group that happens on Zoom. So if you're looking for a little self-care, art, and creativity with Caitlin and Kat V, make sure to check out that event. Zoom link is on the Facebook event. And for me, wow, always such an honor and a privilege to be here sharing this with you. Thanks for watching and listening. I'll be here on Facebook, actually not here on Instagram, but on Facebook every Wednesday. So that's tomorrow, I think, from 2 p.m. to 3:30, hanging out, making art in another live stream. If you'd like to join in and chat with other community members and share your work, I look forward to that. But in the meantime, until we can create and connect with one another in person, I look forward to connecting and creating with everyone right here online. Thanks for being out there. Take care of yourselves, keep creating, and see you soon. Bye, everybody.